also a little bit of a hectic day. It's probably not going to be a very long stream, to be honest. It's been an absolute mad day of learning about different things, and then this afternoon I've done a workshop which was absolutely amazing, as they are always are. We talk about that a little bit in a minute. But yeah, so it's not really massive. But there's been a few things happening lately. Your voice sounds like you're far away. Oh, maybe I'm turned down. Tell me if it gets better. Hopefully that will get better. Turn the gain up. Hopefully that's better. Let me know. Um, what was I saying? So yeah, been up to a few things, doing a few things today. Um, did anyone catch the video that I put out this morning? The AI. I asked the computer, like it keeps suggesting me these different ads and stuff on YouTube, and one of the ads was the AI can generate artwork from keywords and things like that. So I thought I'd give it a go as it keeps showing me the the ad to do it. Basically, I thought I'd give it a go. I think I know. I think I've just clicked onto mine. Yeah. Hopefully that is a little bit better on the audio. It should be better. What was I saying? Yeah, so the video this morning, the AI. So I typed in a few things like leaf cutter ant and giant leaf cutter ant, giant ant, and stuff like that. And some of the pictures it came up with, it was like, it wasn't even ants. They were just kind of like obscure things. And it was like, wow, okay, that's kind of cool. So anyways, I put all of them together and put it into a little video. Yeah, I thought it would be. What it was I had the microphone set up to come off the camera rather than off the microphone. So it's actually, and the camera at the moment is actually inside of the tank. It is on like an extendable arm thing that I've moved into the tank, and the camera itself is inside. There's no glass in front of you, no nothing. That is inside the tank with the ants. So that's a little bit different tonight. So yeah, my mistake there. I apologise for that. I didn't realise it was set up completely wrong, even though I'd never set it up to do that. I don't know why it's done that. Either way, what was I talking about? Can't remember. It'll come back in a second. No, it's gone. Completely gone. Doesn't matter. Let's let's talk about the workshop. So, anyways, I got picked up and went down to the workshop. Took a load of the bugs with me, as I always do. That's it. The ant video. Look, we'll talk about the video quickly. So yeah, I thought it was really cool, and always like give it a watch if you haven't yet. Even give it a comment. Tell me what you think. Like, did you think the computer did well? Like, I found it really interesting that AI is now able to do that. AI has come on so far. I was young, it's like, well, a lot of you are my own age, so but it's coming. You can sort of ask it to do things like make artwork, and it generates artwork. I don't know how it does it, whether it takes like stock images and molds them together, or it literally creates it out of nothingness. I haven't got a clue. But look at, like, you'll see the pictures and you'll be like, that's kind of cool, but it's not an ant. The last one at the very end, it was like a leaf cutter ant or something like that. I asked it to do, and it's the most obscure thing, but it's actually a cool piece of artwork, which I wouldn't mind up on my wall or something, but it's definitely not an ant. But I thought I'd give it a go, why not? Give it a try. And it was free as well. I think I put the link in the description. If I didn't, I meant to. And it was, like I said, it was free, and you get to have a few different goes with it. So give it a go if you haven't. It was a bit of fun. Anyways, the workshop I'd done today, great bit of fun going down to these workshops. I love sharing my passion with as many people as we can, especially the younger generation, because they love taking it in. They love holding the insects, and they're all kind of like, oh, it's creepy, but I want to see it and I want to hold it. And oh no, I'm holding it. And it's like, oh, well done. You're so brave. And like I say, they love holding the giant cave roaches, and the cave roaches are very well tamed now. They're really used to coming out to these workshops with me, and they just sit on our hands, and yeah, they're great fun, and the beetles do the same. We don't get out the tarantula or anything that can bite or hurt, strictly because my insurance won't cover it. I didn't want to do that part on the insurance. You know what I mean? It makes it go up a massive amount, but I just don't see a point. There's no real benefit for the spider to be passed around the room. You know what I mean? A little bit too delicate for that, I'd say. Whereas the roach is a little bit more hardy, and they don't mind sitting on people's hands for a few minutes. And I always make sure that the animals have access to get back to their enclosure. So when we're holding the roach, I always make sure that their hand is above the enclosure. So all that roach has to do is jump off the edge, and they do jump quite far, especially the male with wings. And that's not an issue. If they want to get off, they can. Another thing I always say is, like, when I go to pick one up, yes, I'm pick it up, but I am not gonna like use my hands to place it on your hands. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave that roach, millipede, or beetle or whatever to become comfortable enough to start walking around my hand. We will place my hand next to yours, and if it wants to, it will come over. We don't force it. I don't allow them to pick them up off of me and put it on themselves or anything like that. We don't force moves onto people's hands. We just say if they're comfortable to move, then they'll move. So it's like hey, Bailey, you're right, buddy. It's like the millipedes. Like when we pick up the millipedes, obviously millipedes are very, very soft and sensitive anyway, so we're very careful. So I will pick one up in the scoop of dirt, and I will keep it on my hand there. And if he stays wrapped up or curled up or whatnot, I'll put him back. If he starts walking about and starts walking all over my hand, then I'll chuck the dirt into the enclosure, and I'll start letting him walk onto the different guests. One insect at a time. We only ever have one insect out at a time, so I can keep my attention on it. And we only ever deal with one child at a time. And then, but it's great fun. And the amount of kids that are really well behaved when it comes to the insects, they know that they're a little bit, delicate. Um, and it's really well done. And lots of the parents are so interested in it as well. Um, so it's great. I did know a few of the people there already as well, so that's always handy. I tell you one thing, it's always intimidating when you walk in and there's like setting up tables and chairs. It's like, oh no, I've got I need to be professional now. It's not just a matter of like talking to people anymore. They're having a proper sitting down lesson sort of thing. But it's all good. That it actually, like, that side of it very rarely happens. I always have like worksheets and things like that that I've designed that I take along with me. So there is stuff for them to sit down and do. And in fact, we've got other things that I've got in my mind as well that are coming to these little workshops that are going to be great fun and brilliant little ideas that I've had. I just got to make it happen now. And yeah, like I said, we get out lots of things. We have the worksheets and whatnot. So there is that chance to sit down and actually do some proper learning. And I do try to pass on as much knowledge as I can, but generally they just ask lots of questions. And that's the best way to learn, asking questions about something you're interested in rather than me standing there trying to lecture. And it always works really well as sort of this free flow sort of motion that we do. So yeah, that's what we went with tonight. The tables were used a little bit, as I say, it was more of a free flow situation at this event tonight. Yeah, I enjoyed it. They even made me a cup of coffee. I don't normally have cups of coffee and tea and stuff when I'm at these events I'm working. I don't know why. I normally just stick to water, but I had a cup of coffee this evening, which was quite nice. They did offer me a burger as well, but I was well too busy to be eating a burger. So you might see, like I say, the camera is actually inside of the Polyrhacus dive's tank on like an extendable arm thing. There's no glass in front of you at the moment. It might be a little bit fuzzy. My signal, it keeps dropping out, and there's literally no reason for it at the moment. No reason it should be dropping out, but every 5 or so seconds at the minute, I'm getting like a little warning saying it is. What it's like, but you are looking at half, not even half of the Polyrhacus dive's nest at the moment. They are starting to expand up on that corner edge bit where you can see that big mass of ants that's sort of accumulated. I was hoping that they'd use these sticks a lot more and head down, but they're not at the moment. They're not going any higher than the barrier. I think the barrier has stopped them. So I'm not too concerned. I just thought I'd show you basically. They're doing so well. There's so many of them. It's a little bit intimidating knowing that there's a load more new queens in there laying as well now. But like I've told you in the past, we have got a second tank being set up ready to do it. Um, so that they can expand into it, which is going to be super cool. We've got some other super cool things here. In fact, by this time next week, quite possibly, you might be the first to see one of my ant colonies. Oh, because I might unveil it on our stream actually, because I'll probably be so excited I won't be able to not. But you have to wait and see. It might be until Sunday or whatever. But very soon is going to be a new ant colony doing the pre-show feeding, I think, just for a few shows, just so you can go, oh wow, that's a cool ant and whatever. I don't know. Whatever you're gonna say, it'll be very welcome. But yeah, so that would be great. We've got quite a few new things coming to the ant corner in the next couple of weeks. I cannot tell you too much about what they are, um, because I'm sworn to secrecy. But it's super exciting. And basically, I'm running out of room again. I need to get a load more shelving units. But saying that, we are moving again before long. Now that is out of the bag. I ain't going to tell you any further details than that, but the ant corner will be moving before long. Ooh. Thank you, Bailey, and thank you, Creepy. Yeah, it is a really beautiful nest. I wish, like, I tried to zoom out, and this is the maximum zoom out, and I can't really put the camera any further back because then it would be touching the glass, and the ants would literally just crawl out. So at the minute, it's sort of like suspended in the air, and this is as good as it gets. I could move it and show you more of the nest. Originally, I had it facing into the pond because the crabs were doing stuff, and then as I set it up, they all ran away, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm just showing an empty pond." So, what a nightmare that was. Bailey, I can't remember if I've got your address, buddy. I think I do. Can you make sure I do and ping it to me if I yeah, ping me your address anyways, Bailey. Because I want to send you something soon. Although postage at the minute is a blimmin' nightmare. Um, as far as I know, they weren't striking today, but I have a feeling they weren't processing things today. Um, tomorrow they're not delivering anything, and then there's a few more dates coming up. That it's just an absolute nightmare. If you are awaiting a delivery from me, please be assured that if there is any issues with your ants when they do arrive, I will obviously replace any dead ants that have died in the post. But to be fair, they should be fine just that extra day or so. It's not like they're going to be throwing them about when they're not even there at work. They're probably just sat in a dark area or whatever. But if it gets cold or whatnot and there's any issues at all, just ping me a message. I'll always sort that, not a problem at all. Um, can't remember what else I was going. I had a few more things I was saying about, but my brain, cool. I am tired. Those workshops, although they're so fun, they're really hard work. Like they're quite tiring, you know what I mean? You gotta keep an eye on everything and all the kids and like be entertaining and knowledgeable and passing that. There's a lot to do at these little workshops that I do. But they're great fun. Don't let it sound like I'm knocking them or I don't enjoy them. I absolutely love them. It's just hard work. It does take a lot out of me. I think I'm just getting old. Like you all kind of know me, I think I'm just getting old. I'm getting tired in my old age. I was a professional athlete for a very long time. Literally, all I did every day was I'd get up, I'd go for a run, come home and eat. Then I'd go and train in the gym, come home and eat. Then I'd do a bit of training at home, eat. Then I'd normally go back to the gym or go to a boxing gym, and then I'd come home and eat. And then quite often I'd go for a cycle or run. It was pretty much full on all the time. And I think I've just tired myself out a little bit. It's just caught up with me now, rather than back then. I don't know, whatever. It's all good fun. I still love training. I'm just not so competitive at it anymore. You might have noticed I'm not competing at the moment. I have got something in the works, but it's not like I'm not putting my heart and soul into it anymore. Mainly because it was killing me. Needed to slow down a little bit. And that's actually what started the ants, was when, like, a long time ago, I say a long time ago, a few years back, I damaged myself during some lifting and ended up getting quite unwell from it. So they basically said that you got to find something else to do some of the time. You can't train like 19 hours a day and not sleep and just train and train and train. It's like, fair enough. So that's when I really started getting into more ants, because I've always kept ants since I was like 18, got my first place. But it's sort of like it exploded at that point. Yeah, the ants definitely have brought peace. It's like it's a whole different thing to what I used to do. You like I say, it used to be hectic. If I wasn't training, I was training someone else or doing, it was hectic. See, I used to compete in boxing, triathlon, and strongman, which is really quite opposite each other. Very hard to do strongman if you do boxing or triathlon. They're just completely opposite sports. But I did it all. One of very few people in the world who has ever managed such feats, if not maybe the only, to be honest. But I don't know. I'm not going to claim that completely. Um, yeah, I've done a lot. I've lifted over a quarter of a ton and carried probably about the same. Done a lot and done my body in with it, but I loved it. I used to have the same passion for ants, for sport as I do with ants. Although watching sports always bored me. I watch the Olympics because that's like a whole nother level. They are top level athletes and they do some really interesting, cool stuff that I could never even dream of doing, even when I was at the peak of my fitness. Although some of it I did used to muck about, but whatever. Um, but I've never been into football or watching football anyways. I play a bit, but I'm not really bothered. Used to play rugby pretty much all my life. I played rugby until everyone grew a lot bigger than me because I was prop. I was a big kid, and then I just kind of stopped growing, and everyone grew past me. So that ended that at about 16 years old. I stopped rugby. Apart from that, I've never had an interest in sport until I took up those boxing gloves that one dreadful night, or no, one fateful night. That's it. Took up some boxing gloves, and that was the start of my athletic career, which was life changing for me, really, because obviously with all my health conditions, you've got to look after yourself, and that really put me ahead of anyone else. I've given advice to hundreds of people across the globe on how to increase their lung capacity and things like that. I've had people message me saying they've never been able to do the things that they've done now. Like, it sounds silly, but I know someone who can now walk up the stairs, whereas beforehand he would have never even dreamt of walking up two or three stairs because he was so unwell and out of breath. And through a long time of doing some of the exercises that I've said, and it's more about confidence building. I always said it wasn't about trying to get them to do exercise. It's about giving them the confidence to say, my illness isn't going to be the end of me. Like, I'm going to take control of the situation and do something again. And I say we got a lot of people working, especially over lockdown. Everyone was getting into it, and I used to do like a Zoom stream every week or something like that. And we got, yeah, he did. It wasn't even hard exercises. A lot of it was like stand up, stand up, sit down, hold on to your back of your chair and do calf raises, things like that. Really easy exercises, but with routine and doing that, it's changed his life really. So I've always been the sort of person to help people. Have you ever noticed that? Like, I just can't help myself. Like, I can't stop. I love helping people. It is the main passion of mine out of all of my passions. The main thing that drives me is a passion for people, I suppose. Even though I'm a grumpy bugger sometimes. Excuse my language before the watershed. No, thank you, Bailey. That's very cool. So I'm very proud of what I've done in my time. I've achieved a lot. Um, I've still got a lot more to do though, you know. People have told me I need to write a book because I've done so many different things. Like back when I was in care before that, I lived with someone who owned the third biggest music website in the world at the time. So I got to go backstage to like hundreds, if not thousands, of gigs and festivals. I've met Alice Cooper, I've seen Ozzy Osbourne, um, met Slipknot. Like you name a good band from back in the early 2000s, the chances are I've seen them. Even what's that? Brian McFadden, seen him. In fact, I took my brother because he came down to visit, right? And we were living, I was living in Exeter at the time, and we took him to Plymouth Pavilions, I remember it. And it was in the main stage area, and we watched Brian McFadden. And that was the first gig I had, like, my older brother had ever been to. And I took him to it, Brian McFadden. And it was a set down gig, so we were sat right at the back. It was boring as heck. But because that's like my foster carer's job, we didn't really have a choice. But the next night, we took him to a band called Napalm Death. Now, if you don't know Napalm Death, they're a little bit heavy, just a little bit. Um, and I was like, oh, come stand here, like right towards the front. You'll be fine. And obviously, it started up. He came out with like a bloody nose and everything. It was brilliant. Completely changed like to Brian McFadden one day and Napalm Death the next. It was great. I think I saw Napalm Death like 3 times on that tour because we quite often used to follow the tours about for a little while and things like that, just to get because they used to interview the bands, they used to photograph the bands. We used to go to like download. First time I went to Download Festival, I think I was 12 and I had a VIP backstage pass. And I didn't have foster carers supervising me whilst I was there. They literally just said, go run wild. And I was getting 3 tequila slush puppies from backstage. And it was amazing. Like at that age, I've met Slipknot there as well. Mick, the guitarist of Slipknot, is like 7 foot tall, and he came out carrying Joey because Joey's like I don't know 5 foot something, and he was literally carrying him under his arm. It was amazing. Um, and that like it blew my mind when I was that young. You went in 2010. I what year? That was is that the year System of a Down headlined? I can't actually remember all the dates. Obviously, it was a long time back. Um, there, I do like Download Festival. It's one of my favourite festivals. I also love Beautiful Days Festival. Not too fond of Glastonbury, Reading or Leeds, but they're just a bit different. AC/DC, yeah, I do remember that. I don't know if I even went to that one. I only lived in that foster home for a few years, and I think it was my longest ever foster home, but it was a great one. We got on really well. Aerosmith, Billy Idol. Now, Billy Idol is sort of a controversy in my mind because they're a good band and they are good at what they do and they are talented. But I can't decide if I like them or not because they're a little bit borderline like emo-y, but they've still got that punk aspect behind them and a little bit you know what I mean? So I've never known if I like them or not. Aerosmith, AC/DC, obviously you cannot knock either of those bands. They have literally changed the face of music back in their time, especially Aerosmith. He's literally like we say he's changed the face of music. We should say he's put bigger lips on the music between him and Mick Jagger. No, I do love my music. It is one of the things. In fact, like so, one of my favorite bands that I like. It's like I don't listen to them often because I love them too much. And it's a band called Send More Paramedics. I don't think they even exist anymore. The lead singer was like a school teacher and stuff like that. Um, so I saw them or heard them for the first time at Download Festival, and it made such an impact on me watching them. It was like, wow, I need to look up this band. And since then, I've followed them for many, many years. And I don't think they've done anything recently. I don't think they're a band anymore, but they were a great band at the time. Creepy, you'll probably like them. I don't know. Maybe. Send More Paramedics. They are good, but they are slightly. I don't like. They're like the zombie punk. That's the sort of genre. Zombie metal, zombie core, zombie punk is the genre that they've fallen into. So it sounds weird, but you'd have to see it to sort of understand it for anyone listening. They're a good band. They're good at what they do. Don't get me wrong. I'm just gonna cough 1 second, and I'm back. But yeah, so that's a little bit of an insight into my music taste for you. But believe it or not, I listen to everything. So at a minute, my playlist consists of things like Faithless. So we've got a little bit of dance in there. We've got the Prodigy. We've also got heavier things like Send More Paramedics, Slipknot's in there, Machine Head, big Machine Head fan. Quite a lot of different bands and different genres. In fact, one of my favorite bands is a great band that kind of mixes it. Is a band called Epica. Now, if you haven't heard of Epica, I do suggest looking up their classical conspiracy album. For anybody, this is if it just the way that they've taken the classical songs like Presto and I can't even think, but they've taken all the like classical music and they've come along with their heavy metal band and an orchestra and a choir, and they've done them amazingly. And the woman's voice is angelic. So it's like I really like that band. Muse, yes, they are very good. Now, I don't know if you know this, but I spent a long time of my childhood, basically from the point of getting into music until I got ill when I was like 18. I spent every day on the drums. Muse was great to play, and I used to like swapping it over because he's left-handed. So I used to occasionally play left-handed as well and swap the hi-hat over and just confuse everything. But it was great to sort of challenge myself. Things like that. I became quite ambidextrous from it. I could play left-handed, right-handed, or whatever. It makes no difference to me at all now, which was always good because it means that I could, on a few occasions back when I did used to drink, like people would be like, "Oh, jump on the kit, you know this song," and you'd get on it and be like, "Hang on a minute, it's set up all wrong." So it's great having that bit of versatility, being able to jump on pretty much any drum kit. Good evening, Roger. Thanks for joining in, buddy. Nice to see you back. We've gone a little bit off topic of the ants, if I'm completely honest. We're just talking about music at the moment. Music taste, and just life in general. Gone a little bit off topic, but we do that. You know what I'm like. I can't help myself sometimes. We'll work our way back to the ants and make it all seem relevant in the end. Here's something for you. Who else has decorated for Halloween? Haha. I I I'm ready for Halloween. How are the red ants? My which red ants? My Macaruba, they're doing quite well. I've got 3 colonies of my Macaruba at the moment. In fact, one of them came with me to the workshop that I did this evening, and people were like, "Ah, it's the red ants." I was like, "Yes, it is the red ants." One thing which my not gets on my nerves, but it is the one like my pet peeve is black ants are nice ants and red ants are bitey ants. It's like, no, you tell that to my bullet ants. Like, hello, Mr. Black Ant. You're nice. Oh my God. Ah, you know what I mean? That's not always the rule. Even in the UK, we get like Formica and things like that. They are black. They will bite. They will hurt. Like, it's not just the red ants. But generally speaking, Lacey's Niger to Mima Karuba, yes, red and black. But oh, so when I hear it, I just go nuts. It's like, oh my God. Uh, I don't know. one of them things, isn't it? One of those things. Does anyone else have something like that in the like ant keeping hobby that just like that's just so annoying because it's not right? I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of things that I'm not thinking of right now. That I took with me. What did I take? I took what did I take? Sorry for my bad poor English. I took my Macaruba, a couple of Elaceus nigras, and a Mesostructa colony today. Mainly because my Mesostructa colonies got to the point I'm not so concerned about sensitivity with them because, like, obviously we have to travel, so they're quite happy. There's quite a few of them in that colony now. It's a colony that I've decided I'm gonna keep feeding and then sell on when they're really big. Um, and yeah, I take normally I take Laces Niger because they are so hardy. It's not too difficult to take them, and I normally take something like Mima Karuba, or something along those lines. Something that's more of a swarming ant, so that it's giving off like there's loads of ants. Um, we always take different isopods. The cave roaches go down massively well, so we always take them. Manny normally comes as well to the workshops, but he gets a bit grumpy after like an hour or so of the kids walking past, going, "Oh wow," he kind of just like you can tell he doesn't want to come out. Now, he sits there and watches, but you can tell if I tried opening that whilst there's kids everywhere, he does not want to come out. So I tend to just leave him alone, leave him at the back actually on like a little stand if we can and things like that, just so he's got a good view and everyone can see him, but he's not going to get bothered at all. That we don't want to stress the animals out whilst we're doing these things. We always tell everyone be quiet, otherwise they'll be scared and just take it as it comes. And like I said, I always like to do it naturally and let the insects decide when they're going to walk over to a child, not the other way around. I make that clear as well because I think that's a good ethic to have, even in the wild. You don't want to be picking up like anything that you find out in the wild. You should probably wait to see if it's friendly. Even then, you need to be a little bit careful with things in the wild because they will approach you even if they want to kill you. Not everything wants to kill you. You know what I mean. Oh dear. Just having like the best cup of coffee I've had all day. I don't know how many sugars are in it, but probably about 20. I'm going to say 25 maybe. It's a good I literally surviving on sugar at the minute. If I'm not like full of sugar, I'm half asleep. I'm half asleep anyways. If I'm not full of sugar, I am asleep. Caffeine doesn't touch the sides, by the way. I literally drink coffee and then I go to bed. It's really weird how like your brain works because of autism and everything like that, the chemical imbalances, and it actually works like the opposite. So caffeine's like a depressant for us, not a accelerant, whatever. I don't know. It's madness, though, isn't it? It is madness. Now, I did say I was only going to do a short stream tonight because it has been quite hectic lately. Iced coffee. I don't know if I've had iced coffee. I've had iced tea. Iced tea's all right. That what's it called? Limpton stuff, is it? Limpton? Yeah, that's all right. I've had that, but I don't think I've had iced coffee. I should try that. Some black coffee. I've had black coffee enough times. Sometimes not that I want black coffee, but there's a beetle coming back. See, now the beetles do walk across the nest, and you can see how sturdy the nest is. Actually, it's really well built. A little bit spongy in places still, but considering all of that's fairly fresh nesting, he's gonna get driven off in a minute. The ants are coming, and they're gonna be like, "What are you doing? Go away, Mister." He's trying to get some of the sphagnum, and they're not gonna have it. They're gonna see him off. That's it. See him off. By Mr. Beetle, go away. Now it's a whole different story when the crabs get up on the nest, which they do on occasion, not so much anymore. Mr. Krabs, the large alpha male, was known for doing it back when we were at the old place. He would come out and he'd walk around and go all up on the nest, and then he'd run back really fast generally. I can honestly say I don't know if Mr. Krabs is still alive. Now, he was obviously at the peak of his age. He was our alpha male, but I haven't seen him for quite a while, and I'm saying quite a while. Um, there is still quite a few crabs knocking about, but I just haven't seen him. And obviously, he is quite large. He's not exactly missable if he's there. Um, so I have a feeling he might have passed away from old age, which could have went 2 or 3 ways. He could have passed away and then been eaten by the things in the soil and things. He could have been passed away and been eaten by the other crabs, or he could have passed away and just he's rotting away into the natural bits in the bottom of the tank, the cave that he created. It might have, you know I don't know, but it's gonna be a natural situation, whatever has happened, and I'm not gonna get in there trying to find him to find out. Although we are gonna get in there soon and take out the whole pond and move it to tank number 2, with the crabs, just to move them a little bit further away from the Polyrhacus dives, and then we'll be attaching tank 1 and tank 2 together via some long bendy, vines and stuff, so that it's gonna be super, super cool and a massive tank. That'll be like a 10, uh, uh, about a 10-foot tank then, maybe a bit longer, 11 foot or something like that. That's quite a large, considerable bit of space for them to roam about in. Um, yeah, interesting times. But I am heading towards the end of the stream. Please do comment if you've got anything you want me to talk about, any questions, or so on and so forth. Don't forget to check out the Sheffield show. We have, oh wow, the Sheffield show is looking amazing. We've got so many vendors. I'm not going to be able to tell you much more, but we've got a lot of vendors, some really, really good vendors as well. And we've got some really great things going on the stages. Um, that show is going to be absolutely fantastic. Like, but it's like, even if no one else turned up, I would have an amazing time there. You know what I mean? It's gonna be fantastic. I'm so excited about Sheffield. It's gonna be a nightmare getting there. Sheffield's like 300 miles away or something. I don't know. It's gonna be a nightmare. It'll be amazing. Yeah, you can't. I can't wait either, baby. It's gonna be amazing. Um, yeah. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Ask me questions over private email or whatever. I will answer some questions, but I'm not releasing who's going to be there vendor wise, who's going to be there on the stages, or much of the information until a lot closer to the date. Um, just because I want it to be a prize for everyone. It's going to be, yeah. And then obviously I've got the Weymouth Show. Weymouth Show is a whole nother ball of kettle of fish or whatever the saying is. It's going to be a great show. Again, lots of hard work, but it's going to be great fun. I'm really looking forward to that as well. It's going to be different because it's not just about the ants. That is about the Jurassic Coast, and I love where I live. It's such a beautiful place. And then we're going to be back in Bristol. Bristol show is already taking shape. Um, I can't tell you a lot more than that, but we've got vendors booking in. We've got more lecturers booking in. Some really cool stuff that is going to be happening there as well. Stuff that's going to be happening at Sheffield is going to be even bigger. Like, we're going bigger and bigger and bigger. The aim is always to get bigger. You know what I mean? So I can't tell you much more than that, but it's going to be like, if you imagine Bristol and then double that for Sheffield, and then maybe double or quadruple that for Bristol. I can't go into details, but there's a lot. We've got some big plans. And then, so 24, looking ahead, we've already started planning 24. I'm not going to tell you anything about 2024 yet because that's just crazy, but we have already started work on those shows. It's gonna be a non-stop, forever thing. I'm gonna squeeze in as many shows as I can, as many places as I can, and as much ant love as we can. But right, I think I am gonna go because I haven't even had dinner yet. It's cooked for me, but then I got really busy before the stream, so I haven't even had my dinner. It's kind of gone cold. I'm going to shovel that down my face and crack on with a few more bits of work. So if you do want me or need me or want to chat to me about anything, send me a message. If I don't get back to you straight away, I will at some point this evening when I sit back down after my dinner. Um, I think that's about all I need to say. So I'm going to say a massive thank you to everyone for signing in, being absolutely spectacular with your comments and views yet again. Don't forget to hit that little like button if you haven't already. It helps me out massively. As you may have noticed, the channel is growing at quite a rapid speed at the minute. We're nearly at 650 subscribers. Literally 2 weeks ago, not even that, we were only just hitting 600. So we are rapidly growing at the moment, heading towards that magic number 1,000. So yeah, all the help that you can give me, I thoroughly appreciate. It makes a massive difference to the channel, and I am doing ant stuff full time now. I have stopped all my other work to just do and stuff full time and show you my full attention. So any support given on that aspect is always so much appreciated, as you know. Massive thank you to my Patreon supporters, as always, Katrina, Stacey, and Jason. You're absolutely spectacular. And a massive thank you to our sponsors, Answer Us and Valhalla Martial Arts here in Weymouth. Now, Valhalla Martial Arts is sponsoring the Weymouth Show as well with a couple of other people. And Answer Us, of course, is sponsoring the Sheffield and Bristol shows. So a massive, massive shout out to those businesses for helping us put on these huge events and making it as awesome as it is. Without further ado, I think that is pretty much everything. You know where I am if you need me. I love you all. You're absolutely spectacular. But once again, I'll see you again soon, Ant fans. Good night.